Sorry, it had to be a Van Halen riff. Well, here it is. This is the kit guitar that I got from China and put together last week. I've finished the body using tongue oil. Got about 4 layers of tongue oil and some car wax on the top to give it a bit of a shine. It's just straight tongue oil on the neck and fingerboard. I haven't decided yet. I will probably sand down the back of the neck a little bit more to give it a bit of a satin finish. Just got one volume, pickup selector. I screwed up putting the volume control in so it works backwards. And it's still bedding in. As I only actually first put strings on it, 3 days ago. Everything's still moving and settling, the neck's getting a bit of a curve onto it, getting some relief every time I pick it up. It's slightly different. It was a bit of an ask building something with a Floyd Rose for the first thing I've ever put together. This Floyd Rose setup, first time setup, is pretty awkward. I messed up the nut installation. It's out of place by maybe 1 millimeter and the neck isn't perfectly lined up. There was a minor problem in the back. You can see if you look closely, those springs there aren't fanning out like they should do. This is because the trem cavity root is put out of position by maybe 1 centimeter. So one remedial bit of work I had to do was to carve away the wood here on this corner. Otherwise, this vibrato spring here was catching on the wood and causing the thing to go out of tune. Things I'd do differently, well, I would probably have stained the wood. It's quite a nice maple veneer on this thing and it's not popping at all just with the tongue oil. So does it sound like clean? Well, here we go. Sorry, turned off the wrong pedal. Did it sound like clean? Well, here's the bridge pickup. Both pickups. And the neck pickup. The strings I've got on here are absolute garbage. They're the ones that came with the kit. So they're a set of the strings you can buy out of China for about 50 US cents a set. And I had a problem with the lock nut here. The lock nut on the high E kept cutting through the string. So you'd be playing away for 10 minutes and it would break at the nut. That happened. Once when I was setting it up, I figured I'd over-tightened it. Happened 2 more times while I was playing it in during the adjustment. So I took that one locking clamp out there, took a file and sanded it flat for the front and back edges where it clamps down on the string to try and get any burrs or stuff out of there. Now, I've only had this string on here for a day. I've probably played it for an hour. I don't know yet whether I fixed it. Very awkward, the pedal board behind you. So, there you have it. The cheap and cheerful kit from China, 125 US dollars. Total build time for me, I probably spent 5 hours total doing wood prep and finish, spread out over 5 days or 4 days. and then the actual assembly work took me all an entire day because I'd never done it before. So I was fiddling around getting the right size drill bits. I had to drill the guide holes for the neck mount screws. I drilled the holes for the locking nut because full confession, I used the wrong screws. There were multiple screws in the pack. There were 2 long screws there. I shouldn't have used those. Those are the screws that were intended for the mounting the strap buttons. So I drilled the holes too deep. I drilled them in slightly the wrong place, and then realised my mistake. I could have just self-tapped the short screws that fix this nut in place, which is what I did with the screws for mounting or for fixing these things, the tunes. I just self-tapped those in, and again I just self-tapped in the screws that mount the plate on the back. Yeah, that's one thing. The control cover plate doesn't have countersunk screw holes, so those screws are standing proud. That's a little bit annoying. That's something I may have to address in future. So, and that volume control is getting replaced. I'm being very gingy with this. This is not the world's best quality Floyd Rose, as you can imagine at the price, so I'm having problems with strings popping out the clamps here because I'm very ginger about how tightly I lock the strings in, because I know if this metal isn't the best quality, threads will strip and the thing will be useless.